Hey there, my Powerbook 3 fans. Your girl Barbie J is here with a recap and review of Raising Kanan, Season 3, Episode 3, Open for Business. And this episode, it was something else, honey. That Ronnie is a piece of work, y'all. I'm telling y'all. But before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. When you subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell and select all, and it'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you hit the thumbs up button, write a comment, and join the conversation, and share because sharing is caring. So it starts off with that bouncer from the club that stopped Ronnie from going in with jeans on. He's going to his car. He turns around. Ronnie's staring there. He's like, "Do I know you?" He's like, "Don't matter. I know you." And he punches him and then slams him with the car door. The guy falls in between his car and Ronnie slams him with the car door like 6 times. He is like ridiculous. Then went in his wallet and took his money. I said, Ronnie is crazy off the chain. Just because the guy was doing his job and not letting people with jeans in. That was his job, Ronnie. So next we see the feds. They rush in on Stefano's fish store. They grabbed him and the other guy back there, and they claim that they had some illegal fish in there and they're going to have to take them. But we know what this is all about. It's about the hit on Sal Baselli. They asked Stefano if he knew anything about it. He's like, it's a terrible loss and all of this stuff. But the feds know it was the Italian mob family. And so they rounding them all up because they've been watching them and had all their places bugged. Next, we have Kanan trying to wake up Famous. Famous ain't down or doing that weed stuff. He don't even want to be involved. And Kanan's telling him, we got an appointment with Simrod. And so Kanan goes by himself to see Simrod, and he tells him his plan with the bikers and delivering the weed door to door. And instead of him having people coming to his door, lining up in the hallway and smoking out front and neighbors complaining, this way is different and he'll make more money. So Simrod said he'll give it a try, but he said he don't want to have nothing to do with Famous if Famous is involved in it. And Kanan said he'll just deal with him because Simrod's son was like, yeah, Famous was here early and ate up all my Captain Crunch. He said, boy, shut up and listen and dude, play the game. I started laughing. I thought it was funny. So next we have Detective Howard letting Rock know that the feds had set up shop in his precinct and they going after everybody in these crime families and they're digging deep. And so if she have any loose ends, she better tie them up because she just decorated her house with some Italians, I guess because she killed a couple. And he's telling her that for all we know, they're watching you right now. So he said he drove by and saw Kanan the other day hanging out with some cats. It didn't look good. Make sure he don't get into no mess and bring down the whole house of cards or something like that. She's like, Kanan ain't no fool. He gonna be fine. And he's like, okay, I'm just letting you know. So Rock, after hearing this information, she went straight to Kanan and Famous apartment, and she knocking on the door. He opened it up and looking for Kanan, and she's like, I heard he got some new friends. And Famous like, he got new friends? I need me some new friends. I still got the tired old friends. He's just as high and stupid as he want to be. And she gave him a wad of money, and he's like, word? She said, if you need anything, you and Kanan need anything, let me know. And he said, okay. And she gave him that wad of money and she bounced. And when she left out the building, she saw a van look like it could be doing surveillance or something like that. So she just jumped in her car and took off because the announcer was saying when you see the cops, you just be looking straight ahead. But when you see the feds, you looking over your shoulder all the time. And I was like, damn, that is true. So next we see a quick scene with Ronnie and Unique. And they at the gym working out. And Ronnie has this obsession about Rock. Rock this, Rock that, Rock taking the money, Rock that. He's like, you ain't got to worry about Rock no more because she out of the game. He's like, if Rock breathing, she hustling. I said, oh, Lord. He said, I should have took out back in the day. It's never too late. And he waiting to see what Unique was going to say about it because he know Unique is messing with her now. So now we have Jukebox in the kitchen singing when her Aunt Rock comes by and she drops by and gives her this beautiful necklace that she could wear, for her audition. So she look beautiful when she get on stage. So she thanks Aunt Rock. They hug. They say they love each other. And Rock is about to leave when she asks about Kanan. And she said, I haven't seen Kanan because I've been so focused on my audition. She said, of course. But if you know if Kanan's getting into something over there by Famous, let me know. And Jukebox said, no doubt. So now we have Kanan getting back home and telling Famous we're gonna do this thing with Simrod. And Famous don't want to do it. He don't want to have nothing to do with the drugs. He's like the cops is all around and stuff. And Kanan's getting mad at him, saying he's shitting on all his ideas to help us get paid and stuff. And you not listening. You busy getting high and eating up Romero's food, Captain Crunch. He said, so he said, look, your mom's came by and brought this money and said she got us if we need anything. He said she's looking out. And Kanan went up on him and said, you let my mom's in the crib. And he said, I ain't take nothing from her no more. He slapped the money out of his hand, especially her effing money. And he told him, if you let Rock in this crib again, I'm effing you up, Igga. And then he slapped him in the face, said, you hear me? And Famous looked scared as hell. I'm telling y'all. So now we have Unique meeting with this Vietnamese drug dealer who doesn't F with the Chinese people because he thinks Chinese people think they're better than him. And he said they only work with people that they know and that the fishmonger vouched for him. So that says a lot for Unique. So Unique wants to find his own spot to work out of. He don't want to work out of the Chinese restaurant, but he told him he has to work with his Chinese cousins. And he was like, but you said you don't F with the Chinese. He said, my wife is Chinese. And then added, you can't help who you love. And Unique said, ain't that the truth? And I was smiling because I'm sure he was talking about his own situation. So this guy tells Unique that his wife has been on his ass to help her cousin. So Unique said he'll do it. So Unique's girl get home with the groceries and she puts them down on the table and Ronnie's like, you get my stuff? And he scared her. And she's like, where's Neek? Wasn't you just with him? He said, I was with him, but I don't know where the F he is now. And he's like, maybe he done got him a side piece and that's where he at. And she said, F you, Ronnie, and got mad and walked away. And Ronnie kind of smirked and smiled. Like I said, oh, he does smile, his little evil looking self, So Detective Howard goes into Captain's office to talk to him about being overrun in their precinct by the feds and stuff. He asked do they keep him in the loop? And he said, no, they don't. And he said how Detective Foyle, which is Adina Foyle, Burke's special friend, is keeping her death and everything on IAD's front burners to keep it going. He said, but Howard said, but Burke is gone. And he said, tell that to Detective Doyle. She's making sure IAD don't forget about this incident and she keeps pushing. So Detective Howard wants to speak to Adina and he said some things about Shannon and let her know how we all know that she was fighting with some demons and that she never thought she was good enough to be a police officer or whatever. But he said it would be terrible if the last thing people remember of her is an IAD investigation. So maybe we should just let her rest in peace. And hopefully Adina will consider that and let this whole thing go. But she can't seem to forget the last thing that Shannon said to her, which is if something happens to her, it's not what it looks like. So we have Marvin and Lou going to hang out. And then Marvin gets a 911 text. So he goes to a phone booth. He calls the number. He listens. And then he comes back and tells Lou he has to go. So Lou's like, we just got here. He said, that's okay. He said, but don't get into no mess. He said, I ain't going to get into anything. He said, I'm just here living life. That's it. So Lou has a few more drinks. Next thing he's leaving the spot, stumbling down the block. He stumbles into this little club called Cafe Vuz or Cafe Vuz. I don't know. And he sits down at the bar and he asks the bartender, where did she get that song from? She said, the record store? And he said, that's my father on the horn, Elijah Thomas. She said, you're E-Train's son? And he said, what you know about E-Train, white lady? She said she used to tend bar 30 years ago at the club he used to play at. So that was cool that he made that connection with Miss Shirley Beaumont. So now we see Marvin showing up at the hotel. He knocks on the door. These guys open it, talking about, who the F are you? He said, who the F are you? I'm Marvin. And he said, where's our money? He had to go. He said, let me see my mans first. And it was the guy Gerald, drunk in a corner. These guys didn't look like they were too kosher themselves, but he was slumped down in a corner. And he was the guy who was in that anger management therapy, group therapy thing that Marvin was a part of. Y'all remember that? And they were going at each other at the beginning, but later on at the end, they end up being cool with each other. And Miss Renee was their group, counselor or leader. Remember, she got shot because of Marvin's mess. Marvin got him in the car, and he was looking through his ID because he didn't know where Gerald lived. And he saw that he works for the Village Voice and all kind of other stuff. And so he took him home. But it was surprising to me that Gerald would call for Marvin, saying he would be the only one who cared enough to pick him up. So now we have Unique getting dressed after finishing with his play date with Rock. His bedtime play date with Rock, and he let her know about the Italian guy, how he hooked him up with his drug connect or whatever else. And she's like, you didn't waste no time. He said, no, you got to seize the moment. She said, be careful. Those Italians are slippery. She said, and she didn't want no mess and drama around her. She said, because now that you're around me, I don't want no mess coming here this way. And he understood. And so he kissed her bye, and he's leaving out the house, getting into his car. And you see mother freaking Ronnie in another car down the block watching him. And there's like a screwdriver or something stuck in the ignition. So he must have hot jumped a car, something like that, whatever it's called. And I'm wondering if it's that guy who he killed earlier at the beginning of the show, if he took his car and left the body in the damn street. Who knows? With Ronnie, I don't know. Anyway, now we back to Lou, drunk as a skunk at the Cafe Vuse. You know, she tossing them back. And one of the patrons started saying some negative stuff to the rappers that was on the stage. So Lou went over there to try to make him chill. It was a white guy. And he said to the guy, why don't you respect the artists on the stage? If you don't, me and you about to have a real problem. And so the white guy stood up and said, how about you respect me, a-hole, and get out of my effing face? And Lou punched him in his face, and the guy fell to the floor, and then Lou punched him 2 more times, and the bouncer grabbed him. And, of course, Lou ended up in jail drunk. So now we have a scene with Kanan talking to about 7 bike delivery guys, and he's giving them bags of weed, talking about it should last them for a whole day. If they need to re-up, they need to remember Simrad's number because they're not putting it down on no paper. And he's letting them know that they're going to be making a whole lot more money than they made with Paul because they haven't even started touching the white money in Manhattan. So these bike messengers seem to be down and ready to work with Kanan so they can make that extra money. So now we see Rock in one of those Dominican hair places. That's where I used to get my hair done when it was long. And they're talking about, you know, the landlord been trying to sell that building, don't nobody want it. And they're telling all his business, how his wife caught him cheating around and stuff. But you can see a light bulb go off in Rock's head. So the next thing you know, when Rock leaves, she gets in touch with whoever the broker is for that spot. And she tells him she's going to make an offer. You know, it's going to be an all cash deal. It's going to be one number, and there's no negotiating it. Either they take it or they don't. And he was like, okay. Next, we see Lou waking up in jail, and he's semi-sober now. He realizes he see these 2 guys staring at him, and he's realizing where he is. And he sees the time and realizes he done effed up because he's not there in time for Jukebox's audition. So the police officer calls his name and asks him, did he dry up? And Lou just looked at him and walked out the jail cell. Meanwhile, Jukebox and Marvin are online with like 500 or more girls auditioning for this girl group, you know, and she keeps asking, is Uncle Lou coming? Have you heard from Uncle Lou? He said, I talked to him last night. He'll be here. And she was getting so concerned and so nervous and stuff. You know, the closer they got to the door, the more nervous Jukebox got. And she was like, she had to go inside in the bathroom, and she started throwing up in the toilet because of her nerves. And she came out of the stall, and she was looking at this girl. She's washing her face and looking at this girl, and the girl offered her like candy, gum or mint or something like that. And Jukebox said thanks, and the girl started calling her Polo Girl. So Jukebox gets back to Marvin, and he said Uncle Lou still's not there, and they call her name. And they said, Jukebox? And she said, yeah, that's your name? She said, yeah. You know, so she goes out there on stage. They asked her, do she have any music with her? She said, no. And Marvin told her, it's about her. You don't need no music. Don't worry about it. With a voice like yours, you're going to be great. Don't worry. So Jukebox get out there and sing for about 30 seconds, and they stopped her and said, that's enough. So now me, I would have been sad like Jukebox was walking off that stage. But Marvin didn't let that happen. He told her, you tore it up, girl. And he let her know that you're that good and that the judges heard what they needed to hear. And that she's a shoo-in to win. And that if they don't pick her, he might have to come back and do some gangster-ish on them. And she started laughing and said, shut up, Dad. But I like how they're getting along and how things are working out between, Marvin and Jukebox these days, Y'all let me know down in the comment section how you feel about their relationship these days. Now, Lou did beat Marvin while Jukebox was on stage, and Marvin said, F you, Lou, and ignored it. And then Lou went back to Cafe Vu's to apologize to Miss Shirley for disrespecting her place. And she let him know that she deals with that like weekly all the time. And he offered his assistance that if she needed any help with the, unruly people or, getting artists up on the stage and marketing the place, he's her guy, and to let him know. And she started calling him Sugar Ray because he punched that guy out. So she nicknamed him Sugar Ray and everything. So she's open to hearing his ideas. And she said, but there's no fisticuffs in here, okay? And he's like, I'm sorry, again. So I forgot to mention that when Rock was making an offer to that guy for the building to buy that property, there was two men in a car taking pictures of her again. They were snapping pictures and photos and stuff. And they were talking about wanting her. One of them said he wouldn't mind effing her, but she don't look like she's no criminal mastermind, Anyway, I guess that's because they don't believe that story she gave about Crown and all of that. Anyway, back over to Kanan and Famous in front of their building, and the guys are rolling up on the bikes and giving them bags of money and stuff. And Famous sees somebody staring at them, and he tells Kanan to look over his shoulder, and Kanan looks, and he sees Ronnie just standing across the street staring at them. He tells Famous that's Unique's brother, and that they let him out of jail because of that dirty cop. So Kanan said, let's get the F out of here, and they went into the building. But how did he find out where Kanan lives? This is so messed up. This is not making sense. And the only reason he going to try to mess with Kanan is because he got this obsession with Rock, thinking Rock is making all this money, where Rock hasn't done one thing yet. And now you going to mess with her son? Come on, Ronnie, come on. So y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, season's greetings, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and all that stuff. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.